Young Justice was back again this week with a brand new episode entitled First Impression, and for once when I say episode, I really do mean episode, because this was the first time since Season 3 began that we're only getting one episode a week. It won't be forever, but it will be for the next couple weeks. Picking up from where last week left off, Beast Boy has vowed to try and create a more publicly facing team of young superheroes to battle the smear campaign waged by Lex Luthor and the Light, as well as inspiring more young metahumans to not fear themselves or their new powers. It's a very admirable goal, but what I think I like most about this opening scene is that at first Calder, Miss Martian, and the rest of the original Young Justice team aren't totally on board with it right out of the gate and need to be talked into it. It's a nice bit of coming full circle. Once upon a time, they were the young ones fighting against their older counterparts for a chance to prove themselves as a team. But now the shoe is on the other foot and they fear for their younger protege's safety. It's just one of the many subtle ways the Young Justice writers make their universe feel so real and lived in that we've literally gotten to grow alongside these characters and have their views change along the way. Eventually, Garfield's Hollywood-inspired, multi-pronged, social media-centric team strategy does win over everyone else. It also helps that he invokes the same now famous word Superboy used on Superman all the way back in the first 3 episodes. Now, Beast Boy's brand new team of teenage heroes will be operating out of a high-tech tower base all their own, which, no, is never called Titan's Tower. I guess they still don't want to cause confusion between all the different series and the several other Teen Titans projects on the go at DC and Warner Brothers, but still, if you're a longtime fan, you know what this actually is. Dr. Jace also agrees to stay on and become the team's new den mother, not one of the good guys seeming to have picked up on just how weird and sketchy she's been acting recently, a mistake I'm sure they'll all live to regret soon enough, especially Cyborg, of whom Jace has taken a particular interest in. This new team gets a chance to test their mettle right out of the gate as several reactivated Reach ships touch down in Brooklyn and start causing trouble, and with Aquaman unable to deal with it on his own, Beast Boy's team, later officially referred to as the Outsiders, spring into action. It is rather interesting to me that we're 17 episodes into Season 3 and only now is a team officially being called the Outsiders. Stranger still, it's only Geoforce who can claim to be a member of the official comic book team. Not to say that that all can't change by the end of the season, of course. On the animation front, you can tell this episode had way more money put into it. The fights were faster, more articulate, even the choice in camera shots and facial movements were greatly improved. Maybe not the best that the season has had so far, and certainly not up to snuff with stuff we've seen in Season 1 and Season 2, but better is better, and credit where credit is due. Now hey, let's talk about some deep-cut comic references for a second. You see, the Outsiders' fight with the Reach ship ends up getting recorded by 3 plucky young girls. Their leader turns out to be named Tommy with an I, Tompkins, and together they are the News Girl Legion. The News Boy Legion, you may or may not know, was a Golden Age DC staple, and their leader was a guy named Tommy with a Y, Tompkins. But wait, there's more. These 3 girls looked really familiar, yes? A blonde one, a fancy dressed one, and a nerdy girl who can't see anything without her glasses. They are indeed based on the cast of Scooby-Doo. In fact, the mayor and the sheriff of this town are literally just aged-up models of the same characters from Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. For those who don't know, Greg Weisman is a massive fan of Scooby-Doo and talked about doing crossovers even in Season 1 and Season 2. Looks like he finally got his wish, and the crazy part is, this isn't even the first time that Young Justice has crossed over with Scooby-Doo. If you'll remember, there was a brief scene in Scooby-Doo WrestleMania Mystery wherein a bunch of the Young Justice girls are seen watching wrestling. I guess this also means Triple H exists in this universe too. Now, after some hiccups with local law enforcement, the team is not only able to defeat the invasion, which as it turns out was actually the work of Intergang, but they even saved the city from a reactivated Reach mothership, proving on a very public scale just how valuable the Outsiders can be as a team. However, maybe this ending isn't as happy as it seems at first glance. Their success was not all their own, as we discover. Aquaman, Miss Martian, and the other members of the Justice League Collective seem to have stacked the deck for Beast Boy and his team to show off. Also, despite the fact that he's leading a subsidiary of the Justice League, they don't offer Gar a position at their table, proving that they don't really 100% trust him, and that they're still very much treating him like a child, a fact that if it were ever exposed, would no doubt lead to a major rift forming between the teams. And so that was First Impression, and overall I thought it was an improvement over last week's offerings. In many ways it felt like a Season 1 episode of Young Justice, teen heroes juggling life in a social media age while also trying to fight the forces of evil. We don't get much movement on what I guess you could call the main plot threads, aka the light, the multiple moles, the missing meta kids. Not a classic by any stretch of the imagination, but fun watching all the same.